I am your host, Kieran Smith. Call me Q. And what's up, everybody? Welcome to the corner. We're back for the daily live stream, and thank you guys for rocking out with me. Last couple of days, we've been doing tributes to Charlie here on the channel. That was a personal decision that I made, and I wanted to do that because Charlie was one of the people who I enjoyed his commentary. I enjoyed his point of views on lots of things. Didn't agree with him on everything, but enjoyed his opinion and his perspective on lots of things. And I thought it was a really sad thing to see happen. I thought it was pretty disgusting. The way some people have been reacting to it has been even worse, especially on the left. I'm just going to call it what it is. It's just been disgusting. Regardless of what you think or your stupid questions like, oh, well, did Hitler deserve to die? Well, obviously, you either don't know anything about politics or you don't know anything about Charlie Kirk, because Charlie Kirk was no Hitler. But yeah, I'm noticing that a lot of people who look like me, which this isn't shocking, I have absolutely no idea about Charlie Kirk. I'm not saying that's everybody, but it's a lot. And I can just tell by the way they are talking about him, referencing him. I've been paying attention to Charlie Kirk since he was 23 years old. So to hear some people just talk about certain things that you can tell they are extremely uninformed. Let's just say that at the very least. But with that being said, we are back. We will still be reacting to Charlie Kirk news, but also regular news because things are happening every single day. We don't want to treat it like, it's nothing. But as I said, if any one of us passed away, news would still be going on daily. Charlie Kirk held a daily show as well. So he would want all of us to continue on with the good fight of delivering good news, honest news, keeping Jesus at the forefront. So that's what we're going to do. So with that being said, what I have set up for tonight is this. We got the biblical conservative in the house. Shout out to him. He covered why are black Christians divided over Charlie Kirk. This is going to be good because the people that look like me especially, I want them to pay attention to this. A lot of you guys are going through this information through the lens of emotion, and that's just the wrong way to approach this. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's the horrible way to approach this. You can't approach news like that. You gotta be logical, right? You gotta be sensible. You gotta listen to what's being said. You gotta be present. And a lot of black folk, right, black and brown, sometimes Hispanic people as well, because that's in my family as well. We listen to things through emotion, and that's not a smart thing to do. Doing that, you're going to miss a lot of information, and you're going to be very ill-informed. And this is why some of the clips I'm playing tonight look the way that they look. So we got Brandon Lehman in the house. Shout out to Brandon. We react to Brandon on the channel often. Brandon covered Charlie Kirk was not racist. So we're going to play that, and then we're going to end the live stream with Aaron Page. Shout out to Aaron. We reacted to Aaron on the channel before. I must be subscribed to him on my other channel. It also says, people are saying this may be Mike Todd's greatest sermon. I want to end the live stream with that because, as I said, we try to end the live stream over here every night with a Christian clip. So I want to end it with what Aaron is saying about Mike Todd's sermon. He's talking about a lot of things that are going on in the world today, to where the front page of the newspaper reads like something out of the book of Revelation. So it's important that we go over these things because a lot of people, right? I have friends from all walks of life, but a lot of people, black and brown people that look like me, they're very uninformed about politics and about news. And it's annoying to me because as someone who's in this space, it's one thing if you feel a certain type of way about something, but when you don't know about it, now you just sound crazy to the person that is informed about it. And because I keep hearing this rhetoric about Charlie Kirk being racist, I'm thinking to myself, what clips are they watching? They might be watching the same clips I'm watching, but two totally different perspectives, right? So we're going to get into these clips, and we're going to get into this daily live stream. Let's take a listen. First up, the black conservative. Why are black Christians divided over Charlie Kirk? Let me make sure this audio is good. Now, it's one thing for us to be uninformed. I'm going to tell you this right now, black and brown people. It's one thing for us to be uninformed, but to make critical decisions based on that without doing our due diligence in the background is literally treacherous. So let's listen to a couple of these clips.
So I quit my white evangelical church today. I was waiting for a good sermon that would unify the body that's made up of all different cultures and faces and backgrounds. And I've been suspect for years, just kind of waiting, seeing, testing it out. And he just dropped the ball today. There was this whole PowerPoint presentation of the young man that, was killed. But he also used these sermons and verses to support his praise and really making a martyr of this young man who had very clear beliefs that were against the Bible. It's unfortunate, but clearly Sunday morning is still a very segregated time of day, very segregated place in churches. And the same ignorance, the same, language around race and racism keeps circulating year after year after year. The enemy doesn't get smarter. He just makes it look a little prettier. And then when you get down to the core of it, the people still haven't healed. The people still are soft bigots, soft racists. So needless to say, me and my 7-year-old aren't going back. Not gonna do it. Help me find a church, y'all.
Young man, you want to say why you're here, what Charlie Kirk meant to you?
He was my idol. I remember watching his videos, wanting to be like him. I would just see the way he would debate, and he would just stay calm while the left was just yelling at him, and he was just so nice about it. And then they hated him so much because he knew he was right, but they just didn't want to admit it. So they ended up hating him, and they just killed him for it.
What's your name? How old are you?
I'm Bryson Levy. I'm 14.
Man, God bless you. But where are you from?
I'm from here, Oakton.
Man, I pray a blessing on Bryson. This whole generation, Lord, raise them up. Give them extra strength, extra power, wisdom and favor, Lord. I just pray your angel armies go with Bryson everywhere you go, brother. That God makes you a man, a warrior for this generation, my man.
Thank you.
I've been seeing these videos of these women, black women, who claim they walked out of their churches during the middle of the sermon because their pastor, now they're attending multicultural churches, I would assume, with a Caucasian pastor, and the pastor decided to talk about Charlie Kirk during the service in a manner that was unsettling for these black women.
I had to walk out of church today over comments about Charlie Kirk. I'm on the verge of tears sitting in this parking lot because I'm having such a complex with my faith, because I genuinely don't understand how Christians are pushing this man as though hate didn't come out of his mouth and heart on a consistent basis. And I'm genuinely sitting here if this is the God that we serve, if this is the reflection of the God we serve, do I want to be a part of it? I'm truly having a conflict with my faith, because the leaders that we're supposed to be following are guiding us in this way to feel empathy and sympathy, and that this person was this great Christian, and that the message that his wife gave was, it started off with like praising God. And I'm like, did we miss the chapter of hate that he endorsed, encouraged, and pushed? I don't know where to go from here. To spew hate and hide yourself behind a Bible, to me, is not something I want to be a part of, and it's not the faith I want to be a part of. So what do? I got up out of church and walked out. And I'm at a battle within myself, sitting here and like, what do? I don't want him to be a reflection of what I believe. And what do you do when your leaders and your pastor is saying that is the reflection? To me, I feel like I'm smart. I feel like I've worked hard to get where I get, and to push a man who thought that I didn't have the thinking capacity to get to where I am, that I stole a white person's spot. Like, to think that that's the okay thought, that me as a black person can't function in this world and be just as great as the next, that I don't deserve where I am. Is that what God thinks of me? Is that what this faith thinks of me? I don't know.
And then you got these church plant pastors like Jamal Bryant and this guy right here talking about Charlie Kirk.
Life is more legal than you think, and LegalZoom is here to help, whether it's registered.
Have you thought about the fact that this week in Utah, a white Christian got killed by a white Christian? And then the next day, HBCUs were under threat. Now, how did we get in it? That's called white on white crime. You came the wrong Sunday if you thought I'm sorry, I see y'all are real sophisticated and you look really good. I hope they warned you about me, okay? Because on this Sunday, we gonna keep it 100. On this Sunday, we gonna tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth. And so here they are. Here they are. In Utah. It's more of us in church than in Utah. We ain't got nothing to do with what they just did. A white Christian gets killed, murdered, not assassinated. We're going to tell the whole truth today. Martin King got assassinated. Malcolm X got assassinated. Medgar X got assassinated. Don't compare Kirk to King. Ain't no such comparison now. Let me hasten to say, I'm anti-political violence. Kirk should still be alive. I don't agree with with anything Kirk said. What Kirk said was dangerous. What Kirk said was racist, rooted in white supremacy, nasty, and hate-filled. But he still should be alive. He still should be playing with his kids. He still should be experiencing the love with his wife. He still should be experiencing life as he saw it. I don't want anybody, please hear me well, anybody to be victimized by political violence, but I'm going to keep it a buck. Because one of the things that gets me, and we got some politicians in here, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to come for you if you ever say this. If you ever say, America, we better than this. You lying. You lying. We ain't better than this. America was born in political violence. America committed political violence during the slave trade. America committed political Political violence when black bodies hung as strange fruit on southern trees. America committed political violence against the Irish, against the Italians before they became white. America committed political violence when America passed Jim and Jane Crow laws. What do you think political violence was? Political violence when they bombed and massacred Black Wall Street, when they massacred Rosewood, when they massacred whites and blacks in Wilmington, North Carolina. But what do you think political violence is? Martin being killed, that's political violence. John Kennedy being killed, political violence. Robert Kennedy being killed, political violence. And you gonna say we better than this? No, you can't fix what you won't face until you look in the mirror and say this is a violent country that has done violence to too many people. We will never get our act together. It's time to repent, because if my people called by my name humble themselves and pray, turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven, forgive their sin, and heal the land. So now we better than this. No, we ain't. We ain't better than this. We ain't better than this. But to get better, you got to acknowledge what's wrong.
Charlie Kirk did not deserve to be assassinated. But I'm overwhelmed seeing the flags of the United States of America at half-staff calling this nation to honor and venerate a man who was an unapologetic racist and spent all of his life sowing seeds of division and hate into this land. And hearing people with selective rage who are mad about Charlie Kirk but didn't give a damn about Melissa Hortman and her husband when they were shot down in their home, tell me I ought to have compassion for the death of a man who had no respect for my own life.
I actually covered that when Melissa Hortman and her husband.
I am sorry, but there's nowhere in Bible where we are taught to honor evil. And how you die does not redeem how you lived. You do not become a hero in your death when you are a weapon of the enemy in your life. I can abhor the violence that took your life, but I don't have to celebrate how you chose to live.
This is what the world's most advanced PC looks like. And this is what the world's most advanced PC feels like. This is what we do at Digital.
I am overwhelmed.
But even in a tragic death, you cannot rewrite somebody's life. And I am all the more concerned about how America and the media is trying to remix a life of racism and white supremacy that went forth unchecked. We cannot say somebody who called Ketanji Brown a DEI hire as somebody who is the face of Christendom when the person who said it dropped out of community college. You cannot say that the Civil Rights Bill should not have been passed and black people were in a better place in the 1940s when they had segregation and did not have freedom. You cannot say in no uncertain terms that George Floyd was a thug and Martin Luther King Jr. is not deserving of a holiday. My heart is mourning today from pastors and churches all over this country who are going to have moments of silence and celebrate somebody who is trying to take the nation backwards. But today we stand leaning on the cross, because I want you to hear from your pastor, the cross is higher than the flag. Did y'all hear what I just said? I said the cross is higher than the flag. And so I wanted to pray for this nation. I wanted to pray for our community and pray for our people all over this country, because people are feeling emboldened to be racist, emboldened to be misogynist, emboldened to promote the values of white supremacy. And we are not calling for bearing of arms. We're calling for the blood of Jesus to cover this nation from sea to shining sea. Today, I don't want to expend any more energy or effort talking about him. I want to spend all today talking about him.
And you want to know why this is a difficult time for a number of Christians who are black? It's a difficult time. It's a difficult time because a lot of them really didn't know about Charlie Kirk. They were probably like me. I had heard of Charlie Kirk. I went and saw Charlie Kirk about 3 years ago. And when I listened to the man, there were some things he said that were kind of, not harsh, but matter of fact when it came to black people. And initially, I was taken aback by that. Like, man, this dude, I don't like this guy, what he has to say. He comes off as racist, talking about these black pilots, talking about black women, talking about black. And that really did bother me because of the way and the tone he was used. And I still disagreed with the tone that he used. But now that the man has passed, and I thought about some of the things I've heard and listened to some of the things that he has said, well, I didn't like the tone and the tenor of how he spoke it. The man was not racist.
Yeah, no
And the
kidding.
sad part about it is what this really exposes is the simple fact that we don't have enough people in the black community who are willing to say what Charlie Kirk had to say. We've been so controlled by the Democratic Party. We've been so controlled by the church plant pastors. We've been so controlled by the Black Triumvirate, which is the church plant pastors of black Greek letter organizations, the black civic organizations like the NAACP, the Prince Hall Freemasons, the black entertainers, athletes, media, politicians. All of those folks have so controlled the narrative as to what it means to be black. They've convinced us that things that don't benefit us, like DEI, things that really haven't benefited us, like affirmative action, things that really don't benefit us, like selling out our communities to the government, to the Democratic Party, replacing the dads with the Democratic Party, with the government becoming the father to a lot of these households, encouraging women to live lives that are not in alignment with the Word of God, to live lives that are not in alignment with biblical principles, to live lives that lead to their destruction, to live lives that lead to their utter demise. Yet we don't have people saying this stuff.
Exactly. Yep. That's what.
And that's the problem. And that's why it's so hard for a number of Christians who are black who want to be genuine in their faith. They really do. But they've been told that Charlie Kirk was a racist. They've been told that Charlie Kirk was a racist because he said things about DEI, about Michelle Obama, about Ketanji Brown Jackson. He said some things about Chink, the guy from the Young Turks. It's been taken out of context. So a lot of folks really think Charlie Kirk was a white supremacist guy pushing this Christian nationalism stuff. Now I played a video last week that showed you this pastor saying some racist stuff. If you haven't listened to it, go back and listen to it. Now that's racist. Anyone who says that black people are inherently evil, that we need to separate from them, that's racist. And I never heard Charlie Kirk say that.
No.
Now, if someone has a full clip in context where he said that, please share it with me, and my opinion may change. But I never heard him say in context Black people are inherently inferior, that black people are not on the same level as white people, that white people are superior. I never heard that. And a man had some statements when it came to DEI because he understood that DEI was a policy that was put forth by Marxists and communists and socialists that was meant to be used to divide us based on ethnicity. But the problem is we have these useful idiots in the pulpits in the black church that push this stuff because they've sold out the black community they're like the Judases of our community. They've sold out the black community for 30 shekels of silver. They sold them out. But they pretend to be for black folks, but they push the very stuff that destroys the black community. When was the last time you heard a black pastor, Jamal Bryant, and that guy from Virginia say anything about this hip-hop music that's destroying our young people? When was the last time you heard Jamal Bryant and this guy from Virginia say anything about the lack of fathers in a lot of our homes? When was the last time you heard Jamal Bryant and the guy from Virginia talk about Planned Parenthood and the abortion mills that are setting up shop in our community? Yep. When was the last time you heard Jamal Bryant and that guy from Virginia talk about taking responsibility for our actions and doing it in a genuine way, not in a way that's couched in black liberation theology? When was that? You never hear that. Because they don't want you to achieve. It does not benefit them if black people are thriving at a large level because they're no longer useful. They have continued to beat that drum of white supremacy, continue to beat that drum of victimization, continue to beat that drum of black liberation so they can remain relevant. It is a trick, it is a ploy that these black bougie elites have used forever. They've used it forever. Because they benefit off of it, because when they are telling you that you can't make it, they're going to their white liberal handlers and getting paid for that. Because they are being charged up by the white liberal handlers who want them to say this asinine stuff. That's what's happening. But you won't hear that because too many in the black community have been bought and paid for. That's why I called it the black triumvirate. They are there to keep black people in a permanent state of victimhood. So that's why you have these black pastors. That's why you have these people that are kind of shook right now because they don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. But this is a crucible point in America. It really is, and especially in the American church. Because we have come to a point to where we see demonic activity out in the open. But instead of condemning that and speaking out against it and standing firm in the faith and telling people to put on the full armor of God to walk in their authority, we have these church plant pastors who want to bait their congregation into playing the game of hatred. All that does is create another generation of victims. Another generation of victims. That's all it does. Because when you have someone in your pulpit that is saying things and you don't research it for yourself, that's why as Christians, we have to be like the Bereans. The Bereans heard what Paul said, and they went and searched the scriptures to see if those things were so.
Yep.
We have to do the exact same thing. We must search the scriptures to see if those things are so. We have the Holy Spirit within us that will give us discernment, that will lead and guide us into all truth. But if you choose to quench the voice of the Holy Spirit, you're not going to hear what he has to say. And so I sympathize with my black brother and sister in Christ. I sympathize with them because they've been told that when white people say things that are uncomfortable, they're racist. Or if a person like myself say things that are uncomfortable,
you're a coon.
I am a step and fetch it. Yeah. I am doing it for the man. I'm getting paid by my white supremacist handlers.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Stupid.
We have to come to a point in the black community where we can be real with each other and truly call out those things that are happening in our community in a substantive way that will bring forth change. And especially when it comes to identifying these church plant pastors who all they do is profit off of grievance and victimization. The same people who have more failures in their lives are up here lecturing us about somebody who they did not know, somebody they didn't have the courage to debate when that person was alive. They didn't have the courage to debate. As a matter of fact, I invite them to reach out to me. Please share this video with your pastor if you go to a traditional black church. I would love to have that pastor on to debate and talk about these things that are affecting America, and in particular things that are affecting the community, because it's time out for us to be silent. It's time out for us to not speak up and speak out about what's going on in America as a whole, what's going on in the American church in particular, and what's going on in our community more specifically. Because we are not victims. We are not victims. We are empowered for greatness.
Shout out to the biblical conservative, man. He said so. He dropped so many gems in there, it's crazy. Because I agree with him with that. You know, it's funny because someone said something. I forgot because I watched so much stuff the last couple of days around just the political stuff as usual. But even more stuff that someone said, you know, that Charlie Kirk wouldn't get along with anybody, any of the past heroes. You know, like even one of the pastors that we had on in that last clip. You know, you can't compare Kirk to King. And I was saying to my wife, you know, actually, Charlie Kirk and Martin Luther King would have actually gotten along. And Charlie Kirk and Malcolm X would have actually gotten along. He actually did things on his Daily Show before in the past where he would talk about clips and play clips with something MLK would say and Malcolm X would say. Now, people will push back and say, well, he also said this and he also said that. Well, he's entitled just like everybody else to his own opinion. Right? Like, just because he, even if in the past, let's say Charlie has said, well, I don't feel like MLK deserves his own holiday. That's fine. There's black people that could say, well, I don't feel like George Washington or Abraham Lincoln deserve their own holiday. So what? It's a person's opinion. That's not what I'm talking about. But literally, the way they're trying to paint this picture, it was extremely important for me to play these particular clips because a lot of black and brown people are going off this and it's just coming from a very uninformed perspective. So when people jump in and out of my chat and they're like, oh, you're uninformed, you're showing your hate. Listen, miss me with that. I grew up in a Democratic household. I grew up in a liberal household, okay? Trust me, it's not like amongst my family, like I'm not the black sheep. I pretty much am the one that has a pretty conservative mindset. And because of that reason, I'm not going to say it's made me a black sheep, but it's just made Thanksgiving dinners interesting. Let's just say things like that. But with that being said, you're entitled to your own opinion. So I'm not focused on if he had one opinion about maybe MLK didn't deserve his own holiday. Nonetheless, he still has talked about Martin Luther King, talking about a colorblind nation, right? This is the thing. When people are saying things like, well, he's been racist and he's always said things like the blacks and things like this. I'm like, dude, don't talk about clips out of context. And just like this, the last guy who we watched, I challenge you guys, if you find something by Charlie Kirk that you think is racist, just go in my comment section and put the title of the video in my comment section and I'll go look at it. Because then I can watch the video in its entirety. I can have context to it and I can tell you if I think Charlie was being racist or not. But a lot of the time when people are taking these 1, 2, 3 minute clips and they're like, look at it, that's racist. It's like, dude, I'll go back and I'll watch the entire video and I'll say, no, that absolutely wasn't a racist comment. Speaking of which, shout out to Brandon Lee, man. We react to him on the channel often. Charlie Kirk was not racist. Let's take a listen.
Charlie Kirk was not racist. Charlie Kirk showed black people nothing but love. He believed there was nothing he could do that we couldn't. He believed there was nothing he could achieve that we also couldn't. He believed there were no limits to what a black person could accomplish in America. And people called him racist because he refused to see black people as second-class citizens. Now, if you want to call me an Uncle Tom, a coon, a sellout, that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. I've heard it before. But I encourage everybody with an open mind to watch this video till the end because I believe I can change your mind. If you believe Charlie Kirk was a racist, it's evident that your opinion was formed through 30-second out-of-context clips pushed by an algorithm meant to enrage you and further the racial divide between black and white people. But as somebody who's seen Charlie Kirk live and watched many of his college debates all the way through, I can tell you with 100% certainty, every black person that came to the microphone was met with respect, was met with dignity, and was welcomed and given a platform to engage in cordial civil discourse about their disagreements. A lot of the conversations revolved around DEI And no matter where the conversation went, by the end of it, Charlie Kirk would tell every single black person, you are smart, you are competent, and you are capable. You can do anything a white person or an Asian person can do. You can succeed on your own merits and don't need the bar artificially lowered because of your skin color. DEI is a racist policy that implies that black people aren't capable of succeeding at the same rates as whites or as Asians, and therefore must have some lower set of standards. Black women have historically been the victim of being told, you're beautiful for a black woman, and they are aware that's an offensive, racist, backhanded compliment that implies you're not even in the same league of beauty as white women, but hey, for a black person, you're pretty good. But we refuse to acknowledge that that's exactly what DEI is for black competence and intelligence. Michelle Obama, Joy Reid, Ketanji Brown Jackson, Sheila Jackson Lee bragged about getting to where they were because of affirmative action, bragged about being admitted into merit-based institutions, not because of their qualifications, but because of their race and their gender. What I find ironic about black people is we'll take such offense to being called a DEI hire, but then we'll boycott Target for removing their DEI policies. So which one is it? Is it a program you're proud of because it allows black people to get ahead by lowering the barrier to entry? Or is it an offensive insult that implies that you weren't competent enough to succeed on your own merits? It's like when women would call Lizzo beautiful, but then take offense at being told they look like Lizzo. People called Charlie Kirk racist because he told black people to dream big, because there's nothing in this world that they cannot accomplish, that they are not second-class citizens. There is nothing systemic holding them back, and that they can be successful just like white people. But the prevailing narrative is because he didn't see black people as second-class citizens, that's what made him racist. How is it okay for Michelle Obama and the rest of them to brag about becoming successful because their bar was lowered based on irrelevant, immutable characteristics? And when Charlie Kirk points out that that means they took the spot from someone else who is objectively more qualified, now all of a sudden he hates black women. You can't advocate for policies that systemically benefit women and minorities and disadvantage men and white people, and then claim to be oppressed by white men. What you want is systemic superiority while also being able to claim victimhood status. You can't celebrate a system that gives a lower standard to black people and a much higher standard to other people, and then be mad when people don't know if you got in based on the normal standards or the racist lower black standards. Charlie Kirk never claimed black women were inherently dumb or incapable. He just acknowledged the reality that these women proudly proclaimed. Charlie Kirk said if he sees a black pilot, he's not sure whether they're qualified or not. Well, that is totally the fault of United Airlines, who publicly stated that their mission was to make 40% of all of their hires minorities and women. If they just simply said, at United Airlines, we're committed to hiring the most high quality pilots who will get you where you want to go safely and on time, no one would even think twice if the cockpit had black people in there. And he even said these arbitrary racist hiring quotas might be okay in the HR department. Hell, they might be fine in the marketing department. But you're talking about pilots, people in charge of the lives of hundreds, flying through the air at 30,000 feet, going 500 miles per hour. The quality of pilots have life or death implications and should not be turned into some social justice project, because people stop caring about political correctness, insensitivity, and niceties when their lives are on the line. And how can you blame them? It's not like we don't know what groups of people aren't having the bar lowered for them and what groups of people are. And you can't expect society to just pretend like that doesn't exist when it comes to something as important as flying on a plane. Black people shouldn't be mad at Charlie Kirk. Black people should hate the Democrats for instituting and perpetuating a racist policy that strips them of their sense of achievement and forces everybody to question the legitimacy of their accomplishments. The entire concept of white privilege implies that Black people are second-class citizens. And that's not a Republican ideology. That's not a Charlie Kirk ideology. That's a left-wing Democrat ideology. I've had white liberals tell me to my face, thinking that they're being compassionate and sympathetic with Black plight, that they have advantages that I don't, that they can do things that I can't, that there are opportunities afforded to them that aren't to me, that there are places they can go that I can't, all because of the color of my skin. And I find it racist. I find it offensive. I refuse to believe it. And what I've been able to accomplish in my 29 years of life is proof that that isn't the case. But they'll argue vehemently why I'm wrong, why they're right. And I always have to point out to them, look what's happening here. You are a white person berating me because I don't believe that I'm less than you. Why I don't subscribe to the belief that my skin color makes me second class to you. What makes you different from a racist 100 years ago who held the exact same beliefs about Black people? Barack Obama was elected president as a Democrat twice, and Democrats will still turn around and look Black people dead in their eyes and tell them there are things they can't accomplish in America. But Charlie Kirk's the racist for saying the opposite of that. Charlie Kirk's the bad guy for refusing to see you as less than him. Make that make sense. And if you're still a believer in arbitrary racial hiring quotas, then let me ask you, would you be okay with the NBA that's 70 to 75% Black, restricting the amount of Black people that are allowed to be in the league so it's more representative of the overall demographic? I mean, Black people are only 13% of the population. Why not cap it at 39%? That's still 3 times representation. 45% have to be white, 5% Asian, 5% Hispanic, 5% Indian. Do you think that's fair? Do you think that's equitable? Do you think that's just? Or do you acknowledge that the racial makeup of the NBA is what it is because it's purely a meritocracy? That's why we love sports, because it doesn't matter what race you are. It just matters, are you good or not? Hell, if there was some woman built like LeBron James and could do everything he could do and also shoot like Steph Curry, she would be the greatest NBA player of all time because there are no arbitrary restrictions. It's simply merit-based. And ask yourself, if the NBA did institute arbitrary hiring quotas, what would happen to the quality of the NBA? It would absolutely tank and it would go broke, because people like spending their money on excellence. And if you can acknowledge that would lower the quality of the NBA, then you also have to acknowledge it will lower the quality of our institutions at large. And that's the other massive problem with DEI. It doesn't just strip people of the legitimate feeling of achievement, it dilutes the quality of our institutions at large. Charlie Kirk said the Black community was better in the 1940s than it is now. And I agree with them. And while that comment coming from Charlie Kirk may trigger Black people, they know it's true also. There's a cartoon called The Boondocks that's made by Black people for a Black audience. And there's an episode where Martin Luther King comes back and he's absolutely disgusted at the current state of Black culture.
He looked out on his people and saw they were great leaders. So he did what all great leaders do. He told them the truth.
Please shut the hell up!
He just said what I think he said.
Is this it? This is what I got all those ass whoopings for? I had a dream once. It was a dream that little Black boys and little Black girls would drink from the river of prosperity, freed from the thirst of oppression. But lo and behold, some 4 decades later, what have I found but a bunch of trifling, shiftless, good for nothing.
And this
Y'all remember that Boondocks That's good.
This is a show made by black people. There is no white supremacy involved with that. It's because we're all aware that the black community then had much higher moral character. We were a united community. We were not killing each other the way we do today. We were respectable, dignified, God-fearing two-parent household people. The rate of black children born into two-parent households was equal, if not higher, than white families. Let me hit you with an uncomfortable stat. In 1830, white people had 60 times the wealth of black people. By 1910, that was down to 10 to 1. By 1950, 8 to 1. And in the 70 years since, after the magical Civil Rights Act, it's only down to 6 to 1. Black people were doing it. We were a self-sufficient, hard-working, industrious people. We rejected degeneracy. We prioritized intelligence. And people will say, well, after the Civil Rights Act, we still faced redlining and not getting loans from banks and gerrymandering. I'm sorry, do you not think that the black people pre-civil rights also faced those same problems? And even worse, pre-Civil Rights Act, it was legal to discriminate against black people. And they still got it done. People like to talk about Black Wall Street in the 1920s. What about Madam C.J. Walker, a black woman who was actually the first woman millionaire in America? And it would be intellectually dishonest to claim that the systemic racism black people faced post-civil rights was somehow worse than what they faced pre-civil rights. I don't think the Civil Rights Act was bad. I'm specifically talking about the culture pre-civil rights and post-civil rights. The Democrats gave black people the Civil Rights Act and subsequently embarked on a 60-year orchestrated campaign to destroy the black community and make them permanent government welfare dependents. The Democrats' goal was to stifle the self-sufficient growth of the black community, wave free money in their face and say, we'll pay for your housing, we'll pay for your food, but the caveat is you have to remove the man from your home. And as a cherry on top, the more kids you have, the more free welfare we'll give you. We should have seen the playbook from a mile away. And now black people are talking about they want reparations. Did you already forget what free government money did to the black community over the last 60 years? Of course you forgot. The same way you forgot that Democrats were the party of slavery. Democrats were the party of the KKK. Democrats were the party of Jim Crow. But hey, they gave us the Civil Rights Act, so they must be our friends now, right? The Democrats are still the party of slavery. Back then, they needed black slaves to pick their crops. Today, they need third world slaves to pick their crops. Hollywood, the entertainment industry that promotes and profits off of degeneracy and violence in the black community. That's not a Republican institution. That's not a Charlie Kirk institution. That's a Democrat institution. Charlie Kirk never said, let's defund the police and pull them out of these high crime areas. Let's appoint soft on crime district attorneys who don't put people in jail, who release them back onto the street, who protect and coddle criminals and allow them to continuously terrorize their communities, which perpetuates poverty in black neighborhoods because nobody wants to invest there. Charlie Kirk never said, let's litter the black community with Planned Parenthoods so they can abort all their babies.
That's
so now they're
Democrats.
killing each other in the streets, they're killing each other in the abortion clinics, and whoever's left will just be poor government dependents. That, my friends, is a Democrat philosophy.
Absolutely.
Charlie Kirk told black people to get married, to have babies, to find God, to flourish. Charlie Kirk never said George Floyd deserved to die. Charlie Kirk said that American cities shouldn't have been burnt to the ground over George Floyd's death. White liberals used it as an opportunity to push a divisive narrative.
My fault,
that
Highway,
racist
that's
police
Streamlabs.
brutality
It does it
was
all
an
the time.
existential threat to black people, when every piece of evidence related to George Floyd's death proves that wasn't the case. George Floyd's rap sheet is only significant because it's likely the reason he immediately started resisting arrest when approached by police. And what do you expect to happen when you're resisting arrest? He was saying he couldn't breathe before they even took him to the ground. And while that is something that police have to take serious, it can't be some magical phrase that prompts police to just let you go and take 3 steps backwards. The knee on the back of the neck maneuver maneuver was the exact maneuver that the police department told their cops to use. It would be different if we had video footage of the cops pulling up saying, man, I just can't wait to kill this black guy today. And then when they approach George Floyd, he turns around, puts his hands behind his back, and the police officers just take his head and slam it into the brick wall. Then you might have a point that this was a racially motivated act of police brutality. But black people decided to burn down America for it, instead of rioting and protesting about a 3-year-old baby girl who gets shot in a drive-by shooting. We've just accepted that violence. In fact, we encourage it through our music. And we get offended when people point that out. How? Black people have voted Democrat at over a 90% rate for the last 60 years. And the black community has become significantly worse. And because the Democrats see that they'll get the black vote whether they help them out or not, they just completely ignore us and instead prioritize whatever other oppressed group they deem important at the time. Illegal immigrants, transgenders, and then enlist black people in their culture war by saying, well, we're all united against the bad, evil, racist white man. Democrats want to strip black people of their agency to convince them that they can't change their own lives for the better. The government has to solve their problems for them. Charlie Kirk told black people they have the power to change their own circumstances for the better. All they have to do is work hard, make good decisions, and shed this victim mentality that's holding them back. Charlie Kirk empowered black people through accountability, through personal responsibility. But when you're a victim, you thrive on the excuse that the systemic headwinds against you are so strong, there's no chance you can succeed because of this racist boogeyman. And that's what the Democrats want black people to believe. They want them to be mentally enslaved. Charlie talked about the acceptance and the adoption of gang culture being one of the primary things holding black people back. And I guess because it came out of a white man's mouth, we just all got so offended and pretended like it doesn't exist. We're just gonna deny that mainstream black music promotes violence and criminality. We're just gonna pretend like we don't have an entire term called YNs, because we're all keenly aware that there are 13, 14, 15-year-olds running around with no regard for human life with switches. We call them crash outs. But when Charlie Kirk says something about it, then it's a problem. Then it's racist. Yes, other races have crime. Yes, other races have bad teenagers. But let's not pretend like the YN epidemic isn't specifically a black cultural problem. And now if you've made it this far, you might be saying, okay, I hear you, but why doesn't Charlie Kirk ever criticize the problems in the white community? Well, he does. Those clips just never made it onto your feed because the algorithm doesn't push them, because it doesn't perpetuate the racial divisiveness that it's supposed to cause. Yep. Charlie Kirk talked about the mass shooting problem in the white community. He thought it was a result of a mental health crisis. And you know what his solution was for that? People should find God. People should get married early. People should have kids, and they will find purpose and fulfillment. And he talks about the opioid and the fentanyl crisis, which disproportionately affects poor whites. His solution was strong border policy that would stop the flow of these drugs that are killing people and destabilizing poor white communities. He talked about societal degradation in the white community. He blamed feminism, an ideology that has led to now more women being depressed than ever and more men feeling lonely and lack of purpose. And then they turn to these online communities which end up radicalizing them. He encouraged women to return to their natural role that would bring them the most fulfillment. As a wife, as a mother, that would force men to grow up, to mature, to be dutiful, to be responsible, to be able to have the fulfillment of working hard, of providing for a family that loves you. I'm not here to tell you you even have to like Charlie Kirk. I'm just here to defend the man's character and say he was not a racist. Someone criticizing you doesn't make you racist. Someone telling you hard, uncomfortable truths doesn't make them a racist. Someone pushing you to be better doesn't make them a racist. If you want to disregard what I say, fine. If you want to disregard the tens of thousands of testimonials from other black people who supported him, who loved him, fine. But just because what he said might have offended you doesn't make you right. I only wanted to give you this perspective because I want people to realize that Charlie advocated for American excellence, no matter what race you were. Charlie told black people they weren't victims. They weren't second-class citizens. They weren't lesser than him. There was nothing in this world a black person couldn't achieve if they set their minds to it. And maybe, just maybe, it's the Democrats, the party that proclaims white privilege exists and black people are less than whites. The party that believes black people can't achieve on their own merit and need a lower set of standards because they aren't competent enough. Who believe criminality and degeneracy are just natural parts of black culture and therefore can't be critiqued, are actually the racist ones that you should be mad at. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on those notification bells so you never miss a video. And I will see you guys in the next one.
Shout out to Brandon Lehman. Yo, he was cooking in that video. He had a lot of good gems that he dropped there. And you know what? It's so true because that's why I wanted to play his video. I'll get into it more from my personal perspective about what I've processed in Charlie Kirk's death, because there's still some things I'm still processing. But I'm so thankful for people like Brandon who are not afraid to be bold and get out there and say, listen, the man wasn't racist. I've said this time and time again on live streams. You guys probably have seen it now. Yes, that's his name. But his last name is spelled L-E-H. So L-E-H, H is in hotel, L-E-H-M-A-N. So go check Brandon Lehman out. I think he's at 408,000 subscribers now. He's cooking. I've been watching Brandon for a long time. I've probably been subscribed to Brandon since he was at like 30K. So, and he also has a financial channel where he gives off some financial literacy. So he does a good job. But I appreciate his boldness because you got a lot of black people and a lot of brown people saying things like, man, you got people walking out of church saying, if this is the God that I serve, I don't know if I should be a part of this religion because, you know, they're lifting up a racist. And I'm like, dude, what clips are these black people watching? And, you know, not even just Brandon. It was another black gentleman I watched. I think he's called a biblical conservative. And I had to leave a comment in his comment section because I said, dude, it's the when you want to tell the truth that you get called a coon for me. Like, that's what really drives me crazy about the black people, that I guess they're so brainwashed by what Lyndon B. Johnson said 200 years ago that they can't think past blue. They can't see past the Democratic Party. So if you're black or you're a dark Hispanic and you're talking, or you got a lot of melanin, right? And you're talking anything conservative, you're already a coon. You're already a bootlicker. You're already doing the white man's job. And I'm just like, bro, it's this freaking stupidity for me. As if a black person can't have a conservative mindset. I served in the United States Marine Corps for 8 years. Why the hell would there even be a little bit of liberal about me? But you know what? I get it. Because it's the stupid identity politics that's happening, and it's the pandering to people, and the whole like, oh, well, you know, the Democratic Party, we've always taken care of you. And it's like, no, you're absolutely disgusting. Like, everything Brandon said was absolutely on point. We don't realize that it's a Democratic mindset to look at a black person and say, oh, I have all these opportunities that you don't, and that's just not fair. And I'm just like, dude, just shut up. You sound stupid anyway. You know how many white conservatives I've spoken to? Mind you, one of them at work is actually a mentor of mine. He's actually never said anything like that to me. He's actually told me not to look at myself a certain way, not to have a certain mindset. He's like, dude, you can do this. Like, I already have faith in you. I believe in you. He actually doesn't talk like a white liberal at all. And there's actually a difference in the way that they talk. But if you're not hip to it, it almost seems like compassion to you. Like, it seems like, oh, this white person understands me. And it's like, okay, like, wait, you got a white person that understands you, and they're still telling you to your face that you're less than them. And you don't even pick up on it. That's the thing that just kills me. But we'll get to that. I'll probably have that video of mine where I'm talking about, you know, black people, Charlie Kirk, the whole racism in America, being uninformed about politics, and how it leads you to make stupid and uninformed content. So I'll probably talk more about that from a personal perspective tomorrow or later in the week with me. But we're going to go to the last clip of the live stream where we're going to end with the sermon clip from Pastor Mike Todd. Shout out to Aaron Page. He caught this clip. People are saying this may be Mike Todd's greatest sermon. And he's talking a lot about how a lot of things going on in the world today look like it could be a page out of the book of Revelation in the Bible. So let's take a listen.
Mike Todd preaches about some of the devastating events that have been taking place lately in America. And people are saying that Mike Todd is back. And also that this may even be one of his greatest sermons. And that there was no gimmicks, illustrations. It was just plain truth. Okay? Now, I understand all of the conversations surrounding Mike Todd and his preaching style. I've even made videos about Mike Todd. But there is some truth in the saying that when things get real, people change up and they understand the necessities of what needs to be said, okay? And I'm hoping that that is what's happening with Pastor Mike Todd right now. But I want to show you all this video. Let's go ahead and hop into it, watch it, react to it. Before we do me a quick favor. Hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm so that this video can reach more people like yourself. I truly appreciate you guys. Let's go ahead and hop in.
What we're dealing with is, watch this word, evil. The evil displayed in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. The evil displayed in the fatal stabbing of a 23-year-old woman that is literally getting off of work and going home on a train. The evil displayed in the Evergreen High School shooting, which is the 48th mass shooting in America this year.
Life is more legal than you think, and LegalZoom is here to help. Whether it's registering a business, starting a will or trust, or staying on top of your business licenses. When you need a legal hand, turn to Legal.
The evil that is on display and all the inhumane experiences that are happening all over the world, in Sudan and in Congo and Afghanistan. There are children caught in conflict and toil. I'm talking about your grandbabies. There are people that look just like your grandbabies that are walking around in the street while rockets are going over their head and people aren't dropping aid from any sky. They are literally trying to survive. That's happening right as you're complaining it's too cold or too hot in this arena. Okay. As you're trying to figure out where you're going to DoorDash and how quick you're going to get out of here so you can make it to brunch, somebody hasn't eaten in 14 days. Okay. And the situations that we are scrolling past on social media are somebody's real life. Today, I need the church to recognize that we are in a season that the front newspaper is reading like a page right out of Revelations. I mean, word for word. Wars and rumors of wars. Do y'all hear what I'm saying to you today? Earthquakes are happening. The whole earth is groaning. Earthquakes in Afghanistan. Tsunamis, all kinds of things happening that we don't know how to explain. And what I've come to the conclusion of as I wrestled with standing in this position, I was like, Lord, could you have let me not come back 2 weeks ago? That would have been an easier entry. Like, first week back? Wow. He said, get in your spot. He said, tell the people what I told you to tell them 78 days ago. He said, I'm that good that I gave you foresight for where you're going to be right now. I gave you a word for where the people would be right now. This is not you. This is me. Yeah. And
I mean, so far, the man is definitely talking different. Definitely talking different. Honestly, I have to agree with everything that he's saying so far. And there's a video. I need you to stay. Watch this and stay for the entire video, because there's a video after this that I want to show you about how every Christian's heart should be towards everything happening right now. And if your heart is not in where this man is going to explain it in a minute, then you need to recheck yourself. I'm going to show you that video, but first let's hear a little bit more of what Pastor Mike Todd has to say, because he's talking right now. He's talking right now, so we gotta let him talk. He's definitely, he's saying some stuff. Let's continue on.
Have to acknowledge the humanity. It feels heavy right now. Can we be honest? It feels heavy. People are hurting. People are angry. People are, watch this, worried. I've heard people say in my whole lifetime, I've never seen it be like this. I've never seen people comment like this. I've never seen these things happen. And people aren't just worried, there's something worse. Many people are weary. But Matthew 11:28 is going to be our anchor scripture for today.
Can I say this real quick too? This man, the way he's dressed, I respect that right there. I respect that. All the flashiness and, you know, the new trends of how pastors are dressing, that right there is respectable. That's respectable. And I'm actually proud that he wore this outfit today for this specific sermon instead of something flashy. Even though it's pink and all that, I'll take that. That looks nice.
And if you are any of those things, this is the response of our Savior. If you're watching online, get ready. I need you to take good notes today. It says, then Jesus said, not one of his disciples, not one of his homies, not one of the followers. Jesus said this. Come to me, all of you who are weary. And every person that's carrying a heavy burden. I want to trade you. If you come to me with it, I will give you what? Rest. Say it again. Rest. Say it one more time. How many people could use some rest? I didn't say sleep. Some of y'all just need to turn off the fight and turn off Netflix and turn off, you can get sleep. Okay. But the truth of the matter is people get sleep and still don't have. God says, I want to offer you something better than sleep. I want your anxiety to go down. Because not the situation changed, because you know who's in control of it. Somebody shouted at me one more time, rest. He said, I will give you rest. And he said, check me out. Take up on my yoke.
When my streaming bill hit $180 a month for channels I don't even watch, I didn't get mad. I got friendly.
When they locked me into a 2-year contract just to watch basic channels, I didn't get mad. I got friendly.
When I needed an engine,
take my yoke upon you. Let me, watch this word, teach you, which implies to me that in all of your educations and you having more degrees than a thermometer and all of the chat GPTing you do, as well as the Google YouTube search that you have saved in your phone, there are some things you still don't know. If we do not approach what God desires to do in our life with a level of humility, we will not be able to watch God teach us. And I'm asking all of us to allow Jesus to teach us. He said, because I am humble and gentle at heart. And you're going to miss it, so I'm going to tell you again. And when you let me do this, you will find, let me tell you where rest happens. In your soul. Sleep is what happens for your body. Rest is what happens in your soul. Your mind is tired. Your will is worn down. Your emotions are exasperated. And God says, I want to give your mind, will, and emotions rest. I want that pressure, that anxiety, that always feeling like something else got to change. I need you to just, everybody take a deep breath in, let it out, say rest. He said, the only reason I can promise you that is for my yoke is easy to bear. And my burden I give you is light. The one thing that I want to say in this is that you will still have a burden when you come to Jesus. A lot of people come to Jesus and they're like, I thought I wasn't going to have to do nothing. No, baby. He said, my burden it's light. It means you still going to have it. But you're either going to have more strength than you need to carry it, or it's not going to be too heavy to weigh you down. And some of us are carrying burdens that are
Who told you you had to live in that neighborhood? That's a heavy, you don't even look happy coming to that house. Every time you get there, the grass needs to be cut. Look at the begonias. You comparing with the neighbors, you looking at the garage. I really want a glass garage, and I'm using this as one example. Why is the burden so heavy? Then you bring that energy into the house. Oh, the creaky door. I need some WD. Can you get some WD-40 for these doors? So he's still Mike Todd, y'all. He's still Mike Todd. He's gonna do a little bit of, he's not the most serious pastor, but by watching just, these couple of minutes, everything that he's saying is honestly, it needs to be said, and he's actually even bringing scripture into his sermon right off the bat. He hasn't even pulled up any illustrations yet. You know what I mean? So I don't know if this is going to continue for him, but I am proud that in this situation, with everything that's going on, he chose to have a serious sermon, more serious, and speak on the situations, and even bring in scripture that people need to hear, that, hey, right now, everyone's minds are insane right now. We're seeing all of this stuff take place so often, and it definitely can cause you to have emotional trauma, and it can cause you to feel weary in your soul, even your body, just everything that's going on. It can physically feel draining. So I agree with that sermon that, in these moments, we really, really have to cling to Christ and get the rest that he provides for us, especially now. I hope that he continues to do sermons like this and be a little bit more serious and provide more scripture, because that's what a pastor's supposed to do. And I like I said, I'm not endorsing Mike Todd saying this is the pastor that you need to go to. I'm not doing that, y'all. What I'm doing is showing you guys Mike Todd and people saying that this is a great sermon by him, which if you like what you heard so far, you should watch more on his page, Transformation Church. And they're saying that, Mike Todd it's different. And I agree with that. I do agree that this sermon was different. Okay, I want to show you guys a video of a man talking about our heart posture towards all of the events that have taken place, even events in the past, how a Christian is supposed to look at these events. And if you're not looking at it this way, something is off. Even with your biased mindset, you should still revert back to this style of thinking because it's Christ-like. Let me show you that real quick.
I care about Charlie Kirk's death, but I also care about the children in Gaza. I care about the Ukrainian woman that was killed, but I hate the famine that's happening. I care about all the school shootings. I care about all the natural disasters that happen. I think we ought to pray for all these things too. I care about all the wars. I care about all the famine. I care about all the division and all the people that hate each other. I care about the black lives that have mattered because I cared about George Floyd, but I also care about the cops that have been killed in shootings. And I care about it all because I'm a Christian, because I'm a Christ follower. And people are made in the image of God. And when God's people are hurting, when God's people fight, when God's people are divided, then it breaks the heart of God. And if things break the heart of God, it should break my heart too. I hate when people fight. I hate when people beef in comments disrespectfully, not just have a casual conversation. Like, I care about it all. I care about all the things that God cares about because I'm a Christian, because I'm a Christ follower. I care about Republicans, I care about Democrats. I care about red, I care about blue, I care about Black Lives Matter, I care about Blue Lives Matter. Like, I care about it all. I care about those that got the vaccine, I care about those that didn't get the vaccine. Like, I care about it all because I love Jesus. I care about it all because I love Jesus. I love Jesus first and foremost. He is my Savior, He is my King, He is my Lord. And because I love Him, I follow His commandments, and He loves all people. He died for all people. He died for all sin, for all people. For God so loved the world that He gave His only Son, Jesus. Why? For the world, for all people. I'm not on the side. I care about it all. I've posted about dang near it all. And I'm sure there are more things that I would post about if I was more educated on them. Let's stop whataboutism. That you can care about one thing but also care about another thing. I care about it all. It's God's people. These are God's children. I care about them. And the fact that we have to post things like this to show you that we care about more things than just one thing is absolutely insane to me. Love God, love people, love your neighbor in Jesus' name.
Hit the road in the new 2025 Kia K4 from Martin Kia in Newark. Own one today with attractive 2.9% APR financing. It's fun to drive with plenty of horsepower and thrilling available turbocharged performance. Plus, you'll be in charge of your drive with advanced driver assistant technology.
Yo, just to be... There it is, y'all. There it is. I agree 100%. Even in our biased minds, in the way that we want to live life and the way that other people live life, we still care about the situations. Just because we didn't speak on George Floyd today does not mean that we didn't care about him. But Charlie Kirk just passed away. We have spoken on the Gaza situation. Christians hate what's going on over there. We hate the Ukraine and Russia war. We hate the rumors. We hate poverty and homelessness. We hate drugs that take over people's lives. We hate it all of the things that are consuming us in a negative way. We care about it all. We should. Even in our biased mindsets. You're not a Republican before you're a Christian. You're a Christian who happens to be in alignment with the Republican values.
Exactly.
In some shape or form. You're not a liberal or you're not a Democrat before you are a Christian. You're a Christian first. Whatever you do in life, I'm not a YouTuber that believes in God. I'm a Christian that does YouTube. Right? Whatever job you have, it doesn't come before your faith in God. Whatever you do in life, it does not go before God. God comes first. Anything after that, if you put anything before God, you are idolizing. You're making it an idol, and that's sin. It is becoming your God. God has to come first in all situations. So what God does not like, we should not like either. That's why a lot of Christians have problems with progressive Christianity, because then we start to conform to the world instead of us showing the world what they need to conform to, which is to be Christ-like, Christ-minded, a follower, an ambassador for Jesus Christ. That's it, y'all. That's it. Mm-hmm. I respect what Mike Todd said in that short clip. I have not watched the full sermon.
Shout out to Aaron Page. I appreciate him playing that for us. And I did get a chance to watch that. First and foremost, I'm like, shout out to Pastor Mike. He's looking on a real skinny side. So I know that he's been doing this thing. And I know that it's been a fitness journey for him for some time. But shout out to Pastor Mike. But he just brought up some of the realest stuff. And I get why people said that. Because people who watch Pastor Mike for a while, they might have felt like, oh, he wasn't all over the place today. He wasn't doing a lot of theatrics. He was just talking real stuff. Well, I'm glad that he was bold enough to say Charlie Kirk's name, because it seems like all of the black pastors that wanted to talk about Charlie Kirk, they're being accused of lifting up a racist man. This is where it's being annoying to me at this point. I've already seen people be disrespectful on levels where I'm like, wow, like if you are not already on your way to hell, you're going to have a very interesting conversation when you die with Jesus, because the fact that that's your opinion and your perspective is just interesting. I've seen some craziness, and I get it, but like I said, I'm not subscribing to it because Charlie Kirk wasn't Hitler. If you think that Charlie Kirk was Hitler, then you don't know anything about Charlie Kirk, nor did you ever listen to him. Because if I felt like Charlie Kirk was Hitler, there's no way I would have paid him any attention on my channel. I'm fully aware of some of the things that Hitler has done, that Stalin has done, that some of the most treacherous people in history have done to groups of people. And those two people would never get any type of honoring on my channel. So I think that that's very interesting when people are just having these crazy perspectives just because of a lack of understanding. But with that being said, guys, we're going to end the live stream here. We are going to be back tomorrow with the daily live stream. Think about the things that Pastor Mike Todd said. The things that we choose to complain about that are usually someone's real reality, if not much worse than what we have going on. And most of all, take your time to tell somebody about Jesus. So until next time, guys, take care of yourselves, take care of one another, love yourselves, love one another, be peaceful. Peace.